Hello, it's us again, wherever you are in the world. We've been quiet recently, but back in action. More resources coming your way, particularly the pre-release business management case study, which is not out yet, but should be out soon. Once it is, we'll get working on it and get it uploaded to here as soon as physically possible. But here we're looking at 2.1, Introduction to Human Resources Management. Hope again, like everything else, this is useful for you guys. So your starting point with the knowledge you require for 2.1 is what is the role of human resource management? Why are they there? Why is the process fundamental to the success of any business? Now, the HR departments are looking at identifying the right types of employees. So think skill level, think geographic location. It may be certain people of certain age profiles you're targeting. You have to ensure all staff are working effectively, so that's training, development, motivation. You have to estimate your future HR needs. Now, massive problem in developed countries, aging population, declining birth rate. So back to your steeple, demographic changes. This means in effect the labour market is actually shrinking in terms of number of people. If you add the anti-immigrant rhetoric and the barriers that are going up in various countries about people moving into work, as a business, how are you going to cope? So think about your steeple, think about how those factors can actually have an influence on your HR. Take on board HR management. It's a continuous process. It's not just the end of the day, we tick the box, that's us for the next 3 months. You know, workers will be walking in saying, I have this problem, that problem, can I take time off? I am thinking of leaving. You want to keep those workers. What can you actually do? Target training, target development. How can you motivate them to stay? Any business has to produce a HR plan, which literally is the whole of the HR function. What do you need in terms of workers? How are you going to actually target those workers, recruit those workers, retain those workers? Now, what are the difficulties on the horizon for us from a HR management point of view? All of those factors should be in your plan and dealt with in your plan in terms of how you're going to be successful. And have a think about how lots of economies are now changing. The tertiary and quaternary sector is growing rapidly. On one level you have stores now with self-service checkouts. So how many people do you actually need? How many members of staff? How does AI take over? Look at the impacts of the COVID lockdown on people ordering online, far greater than they were before previously. Look at the quaternary sector. Look at the way people are seeking different life-work balances even. Sorry, I put my teeth back in. Work-life balances, life-work balances. So are they looking to use digital options? Are you in those industry sectors where you can work flexibly? The movement in a lot of countries now towards a 4-day working week if you have staff who do come into the offices. Now, all of those factors are part of your HR management. It's ongoing, it's continuous, and you're looking to ensure you've got the correct people who are trained, developed, motivated, want to stay around with you, and lead to success of the business overall. So while you've once again, my teeth back in. Once you have actually identified the role of HR management, why HR exists, what exactly do they do, you need to look at the factors which influence the HR plan. HR plan is how you're going to succeed from HR management to contribute to the overall success of the business. Go back to your objectives. HR will have its own objectives, finance objectives. All those objectives will lead through to the achievement of the corporate objectives. Okay, the overall business mission, vision, values, etc., and their strategic direction. Now consider, for example, financial change. Look at your finances. Now, what's happening out there in the world? As I'm recording this video, Trump has just announced his tariffs. Global stock markets are beginning to tumble. Is a trade war on the horizon? Now, if it is, there's a problem. Now, if that trade war lasts, how is that going to impact on firms' ability to export? What's going to happen to its imports? Okay, generally, what's going to happen to inflation in countries? So all of those could lead through to impacting the individual business. Now, once your finances are hit due to, so you've got external factors here, look at internal factor, how are you going to change? Does that mean you have to automate, bring forward AI, start getting rid of workers? One possibility. That could save you money. Short-term investment for longer-term gain. Yeah, the strategic change. Again, go back to your steeple. We've mentioned demographic change. We've mentioned political changes. What else is driving your business? What's happening in the market which could force you to change? That could influence the way, okay, your workers want to be motivated, the workers want to stay around, the type of jobs the workers are looking for. Again, we've mentioned the digital working, the working from home, the hybrid working. Do you have people staying in the same country? Do you need people in the office? And if people are looking for those options, well, what are you going to do about it? Labour relations. So that again goes back to your motivation, your leadership style. What is happening in terms of your trade union power? Is there increased militancy in the trade unions? What's your strategy to deal with that? Approach it. Are you confrontational? Are you autocratic? Are you a bit more laissez-faire? Okay. Look at the business change itself. How is the market changing? What other factors are driving the change? So if you step back again, I've mentioned Steeple on numerous occasions. Steeple looks at the whole environment. SWOT looks at the business within that environment, both internally and externally. So think about how you need to change due to external environment, how you need to change new competitors entering your market, political changes going on. In the UK, look at Brexit. They're looking to reset the relationship between the UK and Europe because everybody's worked out it's a fundamentally stupid idea. The economy shrunk. Whoever's produced the figures, everybody agrees the economy shrunk. We're financially far worse off. So how are you going to change as a business if the relationship with Europe changes? How's that going to affect your recruitment? How's it going to affect your overall financial position, force you into possibly changes you didn't want to happen now, which are 5-10 years down the line in terms of technology and cutting staff? Consider all those factors as internal factors on your plan. And your plan is how you achieve an effective HR function. Now here, realistically, I've just synthesized, i.e. put down in writing, a couple of points I've said already. So some students like the fact we've got a video here, they can start, stop, go back. Some students like almost notes to focus on whilst they're listening to it. So for your notes, the internal factors, that's basically what I've just spoken through in a lot more detail. So external factors on your HR plan. A lot of these we've spoken about in terms of Steeple. Immigration, technology, demographics, hybrid working, you could link to technology, the rapid improvement in, well, think about your phones. I attend lots of meetings on Zoom. I've been stuck in an airport on my phone listening to Zoom. It works all effectively. You can participate in the meeting, find a quiet area. But we haven't really mentioned labour mobility. And labour mobility, people moving between locations within a country, but also people moving from country to countries. So link back to your immigration here. Look at the policies which are happening. Look at some countries are potentially looking at closing their borders. Now, if you're a business and you have a labour market shortage, skill shortage, how are you going to fill the gap? It's all very great for certain politicians to argue about training people in their own country. That takes time. Significant time lag for people, particularly in high-skilled, high-tech jobs. Suddenly coming up with people with the necessary level of skill. So you need people in the short term to be able to move across. Economically, we've mentioned your internal financial position. That's dictated by the external environment. Look at laws, particularly discrimination laws. health and safety laws, health and safety, impact on training, development of staff. Education and training. What's happening to the education system? Is it improving? Is it declining? Are potential recruits turning up to assessment days and you look at them thinking you do not have the skills required? Again, there needs to be a governmental change in terms of ensuring the education training system provides people with the right skills. If they're not, that's a problem. What are you going to do about it? Okay, so look at all of these factors together, and again, focus on your steeple, focus on your SWOT, thinking internally, externally. Yes, I know SWOT does have strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, internal and external, but it's the business looking at it from the inside and looking at the business outside in its place. Whereas steeple is pure external factors which influence you. Again, just written out, shorthand, almost revision notes, what I've just basically spoken through in some level of detail. So again, that may be useful for you. It may just be the audio file that's useful for you. Now, concluding 2.1, you have to look at resistance to change, reasons for resistance to change, strategies, how to overcome resistance to change. Major issue if you end up in any form of management role. Those internal and external factors will cause you to change as a business. Any business will change. If you stand still as a business, you eventually die. New competition comes in, market conditions change. So you need to be able to quote reasons why employees would resist any potential change and then come up with arguments and solutions how to overcome those. So for example, status quo. Workers just happy with the current situation. Fear of the unknown. Okay, you're going to change my job, but I understand my job. How are you going to incentivize people to change? If you just turn around saying, as from next week, this is happening, this is going to majorly impact your life, quality of life in terms of the workplace. What happens if those staff are high skilled, in demand, there's labour market shortages, they'll just start looking for other jobs. And think about the problem about labour retention. If you have high labour turnover, it means lots of people leaving, recruitment costs, training costs, what are called experience costs. Can you provide the training? Do you have the money? Think about your internal factors. Are the staff actually able to cope with the change in terms of their actual skills? If they've been sitting in the same place in the office for 20 or 30 years, carrying out the same task, say it was a manual task, back to the old days, pre-digital, it's going from a paper-based system to a digital system. And as people become older, as a general comment, I say that as someone of a certain age, your ability to cope with change diminishes over time. So look at the age profile of your staff and their ability, even with the training, if you can afford it, and their actual physical abilities change. Make sure you communicate the need and benefits for change. Make out it's a positive and keep on accentuating the positive. And look in the group reaction. This is managing your staff. If you have one or two negative members of staff, they may look to influence the whole group because they don't want it to happen. So if you have the group thing going on, you've got a problem. How are you going to overcome it? Now, a few ideas how to overcome resistance to change. Now, link vision at the top to communication at the bottom. You need to have a clear vision of why you're changing and where you're heading with the change and why that would be a benefit both to the business and also to the workers. This will make your life more effective, make your life easier in the business. And what we'll do, because we're changing this, we are going to do X for you. Now, that requires point number 2, resource allocation. Financial resources, non-financial resources. So finance, yes, straight away, if you're going to make payments, if you're investing in new equipment. Non-financial resources, specialists who have the skills to enable people to change. And that links back to down the bottom there, you have training. Now, do you need to train staff? Do you need to look at your management teams And do they have the ability, the personality, the charisma to actually then empower staff, convince staff that they have ownership of the change? If staff feel as though they have a voice, again, it's called democratic management. And you look at motivation theory, so if you actually have some team working, you communicate with staff, you ask for opinions, and you allow them to suggest and feel as though they're, got some ownership in terms of suggesting ideas the way they want it to change to achieve the vision, it's far likely to be more successful throughout the business. Now, again, as ever, we hope this is useful. Watch out, there'll be a lot more coming. I know we haven't finished off the YouTube site. Unfortunately, we're very busy teaching IB elsewhere at the moment, lots of different places. But more resources will be coming, so please watch out for updates. Thank you.